This is Corey Willis with PPEI, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
I'm Adam Blattenberg from Diesel World.
This is Dan, owner of Dan's Diesel Performance.
I'm Kaz from Diesel Doctor of Tennessee, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
What is going on, Diesel Nation? We're glad you guys could join us today on the #1 diesel truck podcast on iTunes. And today we're going to be chatting with Kyle from Fuel Off-Road Wheels. And we know you guys have heard about them. They've been tearing up the 3/4 1-ton HD market for a long time with some really cool designs. But we wanted to ask them what goes into designing a wheel package for a new truck. Say if it changes drastically, or maybe it didn't. How do they verify maybe some existing designs are going to work, or they got to start all over from scratch? And also go into more of the details of what they do and how they do it. And we really want to ask them as well is relating back to our podcast with Georgina from BD Diesel earlier in the week, is with diesel events, what does that allow them to do as a wheel company, getting in front of truck owners who, putting wheels and tires on our trucks is usually one of the first things that we do, and just what that atmosphere and networking with other companies and answering questions, what that allows them to do to be able to bring you the products that you want and the service that you expect from them. So we're definitely excited to chat with them. We also want to encourage any of our listeners out there to make sure you go to dieselworldmag.com, bookmark the page, and if you're looking for ideas on a custom build, or it could be technical info, how to do work yourself, Diesel World Magazine has tons of helpful tips, and they cover basically anything going on in diesel year round. So if you were looking for event coverage or results from a previous event or anything like that, they have it. So definitely bookmark the page and pick up an issue if you see it in a store anywhere. If you have any questions about the BD Diesel event that's coming up, just go to BD Diesel Performance on Facebook. Go to their event page. You can see start time, location, all the details that you want. So we encourage you guys to go over there and check it out, or go to dieselperformance.com and you'll be able to see it right there on the BD Diesel website. All right, let's get to the podcast with Kyle and talking about Fuel Off-Road Wheels. Kyle, it is fantastic to have you on the Diesel Podcast today. I'm really excited to chat with you about wheels, which we haven't touched a whole lot on the podcast, but it's probably the first thing truck owners upgrade when they're you get a new truck, or just want to change the styling of it. So we're excited to have you on today.
I'm excited to be here. You are right. You nailed that. I mean, the #1 probably first call when a guy buys a new vehicle is, like you said, performance upgrades on the engine, and next one is the wheels for sure.
I wanted to introduce you to our audience and have you tell us a bit about yourself and your involvement with Fuel Off-Road, and a bit more about you guys as a company and what you do and what your specialty is.
Certainly. Right now, I am the division manager of Western Canada. I have been with Fuel Off-Road, or a bigger brand name company that holds all of our brands that we make, is MHT Luxury Alloys. The company's been around since 1983, although the Fuel Off-Road brand was established in 2008, and just after kind of the big recession of the trucks, and then we had to just rebrand, refresh ourselves, and in 2008 we launched the Fuel Off-Road brand, and started off with 3 styles and went toe-to-toe with the other truck companies, and it just kind of grew from there. So I run all the Western Canada stuff. I used to do all of Canada, but as a company grows, we used to have 4 or 5 locations, got up to 8 locations by 2008, and now we are 29, going on 30 different distribution centers among all of North America, United States, and Canada, and we do also have one in Australia, and of course overseas we do run an export division out of our California location, which is in Rancho Dominguez, California.
I know, just being a truck owner and enthusiast myself, I've just seen Fuel Off-Road wheels everywhere, and it's like there's so many cool designs and different kind of setups based on how that individual truck owner wants their truck to look, or it's for off-roading or performance or just style. And that's what's so cool about being able to take a truck, whatever brand it might be, and be able to customize it. And it's like, that's the first thing we see. Like if I go to a truck show or an event or something like that, yeah, I notice the truck, but it's also, the wheel and tire setup. And and how it sits, and people are so passionate about it. And I wanted to ask you, like with these newer trucks, say like the 2020 GMs, like I don't know how much has changed or is going to change, with the wheel pattern or the setup versus the previous model year. But when a new truck does come out, maybe we step back and look at, say the Nissan Titan XD or something. How does that process work for, taking a design or making a new design and being able to fit it on a whole new platform?
That's a great question. The Titan is a good example, and then let's maybe talk about the new GM, which was a bigger challenge for us. Certainly, lots of things come into effect. Number one is when a new vehicle comes out, because we have so many locations, and all of us at every location have been trained to kind of do brake templates. So, we have a bit of a group chat among us managers, and if some guy gets his hands on a truck right away, he's the guy that is responsible to, get it in or go to a dealer, yank the wheels off of it, and we do, we check out the offsets, we check out, obviously, number one is the brakes, and again, also fender clearances. The Titan, for example, when it came out, was everyone was scared because before they launch, you never have any sort of information of what the hub's going to be, what the center bore, length, height, bolt pattern, you name it. So you're always in a bit of a panic because you want to be the first out of the gate. So we did get lucky with the Titan because it basically kept it only in 6-bolt, which was nice, rather than having, the HDs having a 8-lug and a 6-lug. So that one we got lucky with. That one came out, and the first thing you do is get one ripped apart, take the brake templates, check the offsets, and see if there's anything different. The first thing you try to do is find something that we already have that fit. Luckily, they kind of took after the GM half-ton background, and the same bolt pattern, pretty much the same offset, didn't do anything crazy with the brakes. So as soon as we do a template on it, we cross-references with every single thing that we have on file already. And if there is, let's say, a wheel that doesn't work, we flag it up right away in our system. So we were very, very lucky with the Titan. It seemed to pretty much didn't change anything too crazy. They didn't reinvent the wheel, sort of say. So we could do business as usual. And we pass all the information on, and there we have it. We're laughing. Like you said, that's a lot different on different vehicles that come out. You mentioned GM trucks and stuff like that. It seems to be GM's always the tricky guys right now, and we are struggling with that one a little bit. When the half tons came out, we actually was probably the biggest hiccup, I would say, in the industry in probably 10 years.
Wow. What do they change, or what is the challenge? Is it just starting from the ground up, basically? Like there's no crossover, and you gotta build it from the ground up?
Right. So same thing that happened when GM came out with their. Every time they come out with a new platform, everybody panics. Years back, let's go 10 years back, it seemed like every truck was the same bolt pattern, especially 3/4 tons. It was 8 on 6.5. You could throw a Dodge wheel on a Chevy on a Dodge, even the old Fords, it was all the same. But, as time comes on, I'll switch to this metric bolt patterns. I'm not sure the logic why they do it, but GM has always been probably our biggest hiccup because not only for the wheel bolt pattern, which they have basically stayed the same in the half tons forever, but let's talk about the half ton first of all quickly. The half ton came out and has probably been the same bolt pattern for a million years, but you mentioned the new platform that came out in late 19. The bolt pattern was the same, but they came out in GM and stepped up on the performance game and came out with a massive brake. Not massive to the point where it's like a Ferrari brake on it, but the protrusion. So, same thing. The first, we got our hands on the first truck, measured up everything. Everything looked good. Offset didn't really change. But they had this protrusion off the brake forward towards the spoke. And we cross-referenced it with one wheel. It didn't work. And we cross-panicked. We started cross-referencing with almost every single existing GM wheel we had out there, and I would say about 75% of our SKUs did not work anymore. Because in the wheel business, when you make a wheel, doesn't matter what offset it is, you're always trying to get, let's say, the largest lip, even if it's just a 20 by 9 wide. So, of course, you have minimal brake clearance. You know, you just do whatever it takes to clear your standard brake out there. The rest you want lip. So us always pushing to the limit, we were hitting the brakes on new GMs by 1/4 of an inch on, like I said, about 75 or 80% of our wheels. That put us into a panic mode, and we almost had to reinvent every single mold that we had in fuel line for the new GMs, which we're still doing today. We haven't completed that.
It's so interesting to think, because like as a consumer, I'm just like, well, I really like this design of wheel. I want to put it on this truck. And most of the time, you know, there was a lot of continuity with older platforms, and you think, well, I take these off my old truck, put them on my new one, I'm good to go. But it's not necessarily true anymore, and it's fascinating the amount of work and engineering and design that goes into these wheel packages.
You're absolutely right. You know, like I said, right up to this year, basically for GM, I would have said if you have a 6 lug from 2000 up, it would be a slam dunk. And now if a guy's selling wheels used out there wanting to switch it up, or say had a 2018 model, waited for the 2020 surprise, you can't transfer your wheels over. And people that had bought stock, shops that bought stock, they probably still aren't aware of this. So if you're sitting on a whole bunch of inventory, and then a gentleman comes in with a new truck, and you go and think it's a slam dunk, and it hits. And we are definitely against spacers. We like direct bolt-on applications. So we advise never to do spacers or modified bolt patterns of any sort. So yeah, you are right. It is a challenge for us because it's not that easy of adding a 1/4 inch. We are actually modifying the molds to reduce the lip of the wheel, which looks identical, but we're trying to just get a 1/4 inch more back pad, but come up with the same original offset. So it is definitely a struggle. The good news is we finally got our hands on the, talking about GM, the 2023 1/4-ton platform. So here we are again. These trucks are just hitting. I mean, realistically, I think maybe even last week was the first time we got our hands on one. And, with all the half-ton GM experience we ran into, we thought we were going to be doing the same. Mad panic because, again, we never have any information. But luckily, it seems like they did not change the brakes. Protrusion forward, the X factor forward, didn't really change. So you know what? The good news for all you GM guys out there that are trying to order the new to 2020, it seems to be business as usual. We're going to be in good shape.
I'm sure the GM fans out there, they're really excited to hear that. So you could, just be able to customize. I think a lot of people I know and just things I see on social media, it's like a new truck. It maybe stays looking stock for a couple weeks, a month, and then there's wheels and tires, that are on it. But there's another question I was thinking of while you were mentioning going through, the half-ton GM, and that's really with the 3/4 ton. And because you've been in this industry for so long, have you seen a major change over a number of years with how much customization the heavy-duty market wants with the 3/4, the 1 tons? And, when I think back to when I first, got into diesel trucks, was they stayed pretty much stock. They were mostly, it was a work truck. It was something you used for, either farming or, construction, things like that. But then now it's a complete custom sort of, industry or community. And I was curious how much, or if you guys have seen that as well with your heavy duty customers, is them wanting, more designs, different aspects to wheels that you guys can accommodate.
That's a great question. And without a doubt, especially I find, every area is different across North America, but that is the one thing that is unified is our 8 lug, we'll call it, or diesel market, I think has grown, and I believe if we were just talking in the truck market for customizing, I believe that it is probably on our guess 70% of our truck-looking wheel sales are 8-lug. It is huge, and you are absolutely right. I feel that more end users are definitely upgrading the, like you said, the quote work truck to make them showstoppers, performance, big wheel packages, suspensionless, are definitely that sales have grown through the roof, and we focus personally on the diesel market. The nice thing about our company is, when you make a cast mold where you make a huge run and you come up with a new style, it's always a risk. But because we have 30 CNCs running 24 hours a day in our California facility, we come out with our Feel Forge line, and I would say we sell probably 20 to 1 for 8-lug compared to a 6 or a 5-lug application.
Wow.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So the guys that wanting the one-off that nobody else has, that market definitely is the 8-lug consumer.
I was actually recently looking at different wheel packages, and I came across some fuel off-road, different designs. And a question that I wanted to ask you is, for people listening, and we have lots of truck owners, but then also shop owners, is how do people purchase your wheels? Does it go through a dealer? How does that whole side work if somebody wants to get a set? How do they do that?
They can reach out to our website and ask. Some people don't want to come in and ask questions to a retailer and get third-party information. So we do not sell to the public directly. We are a manufacturer, but we encourage questions. You can go on our website. You can reach out to us on our website, and it's just, like fueloffroad.com. And there's a spot where you can ask the questions. We're here to help. We're here to tell you what will work, what won't work. I mean, we are not lift experts. There's a lot of information that we would need to know, but we can guide you in the right direction. It's easy to answer and feel a customer out. What is he wanting to do with the truck? The wheel sizes have changed so much. And going back to our Fuel Forge stuff, this is why we don't have to take a risk. We can come out with so many styles, because when you're cutting one-off wheels, I can make it cater to exactly what that customer wants. I mean, we're to the point now where we're offering a 20x9 working man. We call it the working man's wheel in one-off forged, and we do all the way up to now by 30x16s, for those showstoppers. Wow. So it's kind of good to ask questions of what the guy wants to do with the truck, guy or girl. Sorry, it's unbelievable how many women now are building the craziest trucks I have ever seen.
It's true, yeah.
It's unreal. And same with diesel shop owners that we deal with. It is unreal. And they have very good taste. So it is nice to ask those questions. So even if you are just a retailer, you can reach out to us. We will answer your questions that you need to be, but when it's come time to make a purchase or a decision or ask questions if this will work with what lift, that's where we're going to have to pass ourselves on to a local retailer, one of our authorized retailers. On our website, again, we have all the retailers. When someone asks me where I should buy them from, I always answer, where are you comfortable dealing with? Who have you dealt with in the past? I like to make sure that the person is comfortable, has had a good experience somewhere, and if it's a customer that supports us, I will definitely recommend them go see them. Usually drop a name they can talk to, and it usually spins off from there.
It was really interesting. I did a podcast recently with Georgina from BD Diesel, and we were talking about lots of different things in the diesel event side. And they have an event coming up later this week, and I've seen your guys' wheels on some of their trucks, and I wanted to ask you, as being, a sponsor of their events that they hold, locally in different parts of Canada, what does that allow you guys to do as a manufacturer and as a company to be able to, be more involved on, say, the diesel, the racing, the performance, just the community side, of that?
Yeah, Georgina is a fantastic person. The whole BD Diesel team are great people. It touches my heart, especially because they are in our area. I've known lots of the R&D people there. They work with us. They reach out and same thing, ask the right questions. So I think we are pleased to partner up with them and be a sponsor at these events because just like anywhere, if you don't create events, I give credit to those shops that take the chances, put on these events. I know there's a lot of work involved, a lot of money, a lot of time, but I think it's worth it to get these, everybody in the industry together. So we like being there for that same reason, to talk to these guys and the end people at the races. And, same thing. Are they just building a truck to just, drag race? Well, then I wouldn't be putting on a 30 by 16 wheel. It's really great to answer their questions and find out what, they're building their trucks for. And what I like about this event, too, is there's so many different varieties. There are guys that come there that are just strictly down the track, not messing around. There are trucks there that are incredible build, but still, these guys, race them down there. So huge variety, different people, along with those builds that you meet. And it's just great to see these events and get everybody together because I think without these events like they're putting on, it's really hard for people to one-on-one interact besides using forums, internet, stuff like that. But talking to people one-on-one, in real life at a booth, it's totally different.
That's one of the things I've noticed going to them is, it could be wheels, it could be performance parts or whatever it might be pertaining to a truck, is I'm familiar with it online. I might see it in magazines. I might see trucks in person with it. But when I can connect a representative of a company or the owner of a company or someone that has made this a career to the product and talk to them and ask them a question and kind of have that one-on-one interaction, it ties the product into me and what I'm doing with my vehicle or want to do with it. And I think that's what's really so important about them. And it's cool to see what BD's doing, not just with the ones they host, but they travel all over North America and, being able to take their product, their people, their expertise, their talent there, and then seeing companies like Fuel Off-Road that is involved where, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make the event, but if I did, I could go there, watch some, drag racing, be able to, see all these different companies and interact, and then know more about the product. So when I am ready to purchase, I have, a background, some education on it, and I can ask the right questions and make sure I'm happy with my purchase. And if I'm happy with the purchase, the company's happy, with the purchase, and it's just so much more seamless than, when we don't know, or maybe we buy the wrong size wheels and then we've got to buy another set, and it's just because the awareness wasn't there. And I think that's what the events really help do is bring the awareness and the personal interaction, at the booth, at the racetrack, to the truck owner.
I agree 100%, and it is true. You can look at whether it's performance parts or wheels through a catalog. That's one thing, but when you can come and see them on display, large sizes, small sizes, our cast everyday stuff, our big, crazy 40-inch tires. To see it in real life, it really gives you a perspective then what, or answer your questions. How do I want my truck to look? Mm-hmm. That's what we're there for. It's just for people to kind of, it's kind of a touchy-feely, see the product on site, and then they can decide what they want.
I know usually, too, once we see it in person, I'm pretty much ready to buy at that point once I've seen it. So it's completely different than, print or being online. But it was fantastic to chat with you today, Kyle. And I admittedly don't know much about wheels other than, a style that I think is really cool that I want. And there's so much that goes into them. I'm sure we could do a whole entire podcast on offset, and different things like that. But it's fantastic to learn more and hear more about what you guys do and the involvement that Fuel Off-Road has in the heavy duty market. And then also with events that we're going to and things that we want to see as truck enthusiasts.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you, and just trying to put in some time to invite people to come see us. So we are here, and like I said, we can be reached out on our website or at the BD Diesel Show. We're happy to help.
Don't forget, Diesel fans, make sure and head on over to the BD Diesel Facebook page. Go to the upcoming events section, and you can see the start time and location for the BD Diesel dirt drags. And also go to Fuel Off-Road. Just look them up on social media or your favorite search engine and check out all the cool designs that they have for 3/4 1-ton trucks. And if you have any questions about it, they're really helpful. They want you guys to call them, ask them questions. So just reach out to them. They're more than happy to help you. Till next time, keep the shiny side up.